Greetings in the name of the Most High. Beloved, today we're going to pay our attention on the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 9. Now, we've got to talk about these things because they are meant for us. Now, let's go straight to the word. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness. Now, I've got a question for you. What is your weakness? What's that one thing that makes you feel vulnerable? The thing that when you think about, it makes you isolate yourself. You don't want people to know about it. That struggle, that weakness that you keep hiding, that makes you feel ashamed. The thing that makes you feel twice before you can raise your hand in a meeting, takes away your confidence. What is that weakness? For some of you, it's your body structure. When you look yourself in the mirror, you can't help but feel disappointed that God gave you that body structure. For some of you, it's the fact that you cannot express yourself eloquently. You are not confident because you cannot talk confidently because you're stammering, or you cannot express yourself in an eloquent way. For some of you, it's the fact that, you are short. You are so short and you feel ashamed. Walking in the street, you feel like you are a child. For some of you, it's the fact that you don't have money. You're broke. The fact that you're broke, you cannot be in a social environment. You're hiding. You're always closing yourself up because it's your weakness. For some of you, it's the fact that you cannot finish what you have started. You are good at starting things, but you cannot finish them. That is your weakness. That's what I want to talk to you about. For some of you, it's the fact that you don't know how to fight battles. You seem to be easily, defeated by the struggles of life. You cannot persist. You cannot hold on. You cannot engage in a fight, be it spiritual or otherwise. It's your weakness. That's what I want to talk to you about. The Word of God says, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness. You see, in the midst of that weakness, in the midst of that thing that makes you feel vulnerable, God says, I'm going to draw my power from that. When the world says, be strong and be successful, God says, my power is made perfect in your weakness. I remember when Sarah was told that she was going to have a child, she laughed it off. Why? It's because she thought she cannot make it in the midst of weakness. It's contrary to the popular norm of the world. But we are not to walk according to the standard of this world. Her weakness was that she was barren. Her weakness was that she cannot reproduce. And therefore, at that age, when God told him that she was going to have a child, she laughed it off. I'm asking myself, what is your weakness? What is that one thing when people talk to you about, you saying, not me, I have accepted that God created me in this way. I'm not willing to work on it. I'm not willing to allow God to take glory out of this thing. For Moses, it was the fact that he was stammering. When God approached him and said, I want you to go and liberate my children in the land of Egypt. He said, God, but I can't. How am I going to face Pharaoh? What is that thing? Perhaps you are from a family that was not doing well when you grew up, and that thing damaged your confidence, that thing damaged your self-esteem. And when people tell you that you can make it in the midst of coming from that very family that was vulnerable, that was a laughing stock in the community because they were not doing well, your dad was always wearing the same trouser. When God tells you that, I want you to represent me, you laugh it off because you don't have confidence. But I've got good news today for you. God says, I want that very situation to shine. Think Think about it. When you are strong, people tend to praise you, isn't it? You take glory out of your strength. You take glory out of the fact that you can make it by yourself. The glory that belongs to God, you take it on the space of God. But when you are weak and something great happens, God takes glory. People look at you and everyone says, look at his God. It's because of your weakness that God is going to be magnified. It is because of your weakness that God is going to be glorified. It is because of your weakness that God is going to realize his glory and he's going to dominate the world. And therefore, accept that weakness. Allow God to walk you through that weakness. Allow God to walk you through that vulnerability. It may look like it's the end, but it's not the end. God knows the end is still coming. Your story is not finished. God is still writing it. God is still continuing. God is going to show up at the right moment. And out of nowhere, God is going to turn around the situation. It continues by saying, my grace is sufficient for you. What is the grace of God? The grace of God is the unmerited favor, the favor that you deserve without working for it, without earning it, without putting in some work for you to have it. So God says in the midst of that weakness, his grace is sufficient. His grace means that when you are down, he's going to lift you up. When you cannot speak well, he's going to give you some eloquence. When you are financially struggling, he's going to find a way to give you favor. That's the grace of God. He says it's sufficient. He says it is sufficient. It is more than enough. It is there. It's waiting for you to take a step in the midst of that weakness. It's waiting for you to say that I can defeat this weakness. Take a step of faith so that God can see you through